Namaste, Honorable Prime Minister, UGC, and all the respected citizen for whom this information is relevant. I am Sahil Siddiqui, biology lecturer and philanthropist. I teach and taught thousands of students. This video might be a loss for me, but above all, I am a responsible teacher and a responsible and concerned citizen. Few months back, for the very first time, I raised voice on the behalf of students who were stuck in their hostel away from their hometown, and I highlighted all the issues. And ultimately, it turned into a huge mass movement to send students back to their homes safely. More than 8,000 students were sent to their homes, and I feel proud to be among the person who initiated that. Now, again, I feel a need to talk on the behalf of students about the student, about the impact of examination on them or on their mind, and many other things. The NEET will not be postponed, and the student will be allowed to choose their examination center as set by government. The NEET examination, which is apparently scheduled on the 13th of September 2020, as per the print media educational news, this was published on 21st of August 2020. Now that raises a question. What about the safety of the student? Are they keeping the health of the student in mind? Now, talking about the cancellation is not in question here. But even for the postponement, we understand the challenge for the government, but it is a challenge for teachers, students, their parents, school and colleges also. Now, the limited activities allowed by the government on economic and business front is entirely different of what we see in education sector. Now, there are 6 states that clearly said no to hold exam, which is like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Odisha, and some other states. Now, as per 12th of July 2020, 4 had said clearly no, and 2 appealed to reconsider. Now, 2 questions again coming in my mind. Are we putting the future of the student at stake? Do we have conducive or favorable social circumstances for us to go ahead and conduct the examination? Are we going examination centric? Are we not considering the life of our country's future? As per report on the 6th July, Amit Shah said it's okay to have examination during pandemic. There was a very vague and succinct 2-page guideline that was released and has to be followed to conduct the examination. And recently, NTA had also released some guidelines, some advisory. The whole guideline proposed by the UGC and the ministry seem vague. And this is going to create a lot of confusion among students. As per the report of 29th of April, the provided guidelines were stated to be advisory. So the whole advisory things has a different nature to it. And on 6th of July, there was no clarification by the UGC and the state in any way regarding the examination and all of the above. Why there is no proper clarification till date? Thousands and lakhs of students are not happy. A lot of messages on social media. A lot of students are connected to me. They are continuously messaging me. And see the Twitter, na? Thousands and lakhs of students are not happy and are scared by the conduction of examination in such an environment. Now let's take an example of Karnataka. Okay, Karnataka examination, which is also known as a CET, Karnataka examination were held there, and it became the reason for the upliftment and surge in the number of corona cases. There were many cases that were reported right after that. While they were conducting the examination, the total number of corona cases were just 1 lakh, and number of students appeared for the examination was just double, that is 2 lakh. The government said that we are putting maximum effort and we are trying to give the whole safe and secure environment. But unfortunately, the outcome was not good and led to an increment in the cases. Now the government says that in the entire world, every country is holding the examination and it is the same pattern for conducting it, as they are not doing anything different from the rest of the world. But as per the report from India.com, just 2 weeks after school get opened in USA, United States of America, a total of 97,078 cases were tested positive for novel coronavirus. The certification through examination is important. I know that certification is important. through examination, but it shouldn't be the sole goal of evaluation. The mental health of the student should have been considered. We just have a lockdown, and n number of students went back to their hometown without carrying their proper study material and books, and many of them were not able to access the online education. And now, for instance, recently I read in a newspaper that one student from Kerala and one student from Assam attempted suicide because they didn't get basic stuff for online education. This incident is a perfect analogy of how students are getting traumas in such a threatening environment. The online classes are only accessible by 70% of the student. Are the student really okay for examination? And what would be consequences of that? And who will be responsible? Who will take the responsibility? Conducting examination on 13th of September is very challenging. I know I might sound limiting, or I might sound someone very pessimistic, but I have talked on the behalf of the student and from the student perspective, as well as about the unilateral decision that is going to create a huge chaos among students. Now, following are some questions which need to be answered. Uh, let's think. There are more than 15 lakh students who are going to appear for the examination. Does mental health of student has taken into account? Is there any pressure created by big coaching institute out of which this decision came out? Is this decision pointing towards some kind of political agenda? We can't ruin life just on the sake of political agenda. The committee that was conducted to take decision regarding the examination, it decided that the student of year 1 and year 2 will be promoted to next year on the basis of previous internal examination, and it was speculated that committee also recommended not to conduct the examination. Why that report never made public? Is the government is really worried about devaluation of a student, or it is some political issues? Now I'm gonna be mentioning some of the points that were highlighted recently by Subramaniam Swamy on the examination should be held or not. He said, and I quote, "COVID-19 is increasing rapidly in our country. Rich people are least affected with this. Least affected. Mostly affected are the lower middle class and the people who can't afford treatment. And more than 50% of the corona cases of COVID are coming from rural areas, which worsen the issues of transportation amid lockdown for the poor student to travel. Public transport and trains are already shut down by the central and state government. How can you expect the poor student to arrange private vehicles? Many states, next question, many states like Bihar, Assam and other northeastern states are facing major flood for a while now, which has distracted their daily life in adding to the pandemic. It is dangerous and careless to think that students are mentally and physically prepared to take these examinations. A huge number of students or their family who have been infected with COVID-19 and have lost precious to get prepared. It is totally foolish to say when will condition improve to normal, as we can't risk the life of students at the cost of conducting an exam under the current situation. And I agree with him totally, and I hope government, UGC and the concerned department will understand and problems and reconsider and reponder over this matter and do the right thing by taking both the aspect into account.